That's
what it is
how
sometimes.
it works, you know.
We'll see if it all goes right or wrong. That's totally not right. It's just what a great day. Please check to make sure that we in fact did go live across all the platforms.
We did go live.
It looks like it. Hello and welcome, heroes, to what's left of the Crit Academy.
Sometimes
Technical difficulties.
That's one of you guys. I am your host, Justin.
And I'm your co-host, Austin.
I'm your co-host, Ian.
We hope to inspire you today with creative content that you can bring with you on your next adventure. We want to thank you for joining us today. If everything looks different, that's because I could not get Streamlabs to open at all.
So we're using something else.
Yes, so we're using Restream at the moment. I don't know if it has anything to do with the power outage or what. My stuff wasn't plugged in, so we are making do. Oh, hey, we're live over there too on TikTok.
I just started it up.
So
welcome, guys.
We're gonna make our way through this cluster F of problems. As always, hopefully we'll be able to still deliver you some amazing content at a little bit less quality, I guess. Won't be up to the snuff that you're used to. How about that? With that, thank you for joining us here today at Crit Academy Studios, where everything's made up and your roles don't matter.
That's right. Your roles are like a Dungeon Master's bookshelf with only one monster manual.
Believe it or not, there's always more out there.
You can't go wrong with more. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah,
you really can't.
Oh man, I am super pumped for today's episode. It's why I'm so sad that we're having some issues, because I wanted to I might still be able to open up the dual boxing and show you guys as we kind of go through this. But today we're going to be talking about the Expanded Monster Manual 3. Now, if you don't know, the Monster Manual Expanded 3 is the culmination of nearly 2 years of work by our friend Mannix Dragonix Manansala, I think is how you say that. I'm sure that's wrong. My bad, dude. As with the previous books, the Monster Manual Expanded 3 assists Dungeon Masters by cutting their prep time and providing them with additional bestiary options to dress up your adventures. Now, honestly, I love monster books. I can't get enough of them.
Nope.
It's why he usually does the monsters.
Which is weird, because you would think I would have used every monster in all my books, but I haven't. It's just always, what more can I get?
We always seem to run into giants, kobolds, and goblins, just like everyone else. It's just the way it all
Rinse and
works.
repeat, right?
They're just so good, so you always expect them.
Many of the creatures in this tome are archetypes and variants found in the Monster Manual, Volo's Guide to Monsters, Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes, and other official D&D 5e books. There will be more new monsters in this third time around, which is exciting, as well as there'll be monsters from earlier editions making making an appearance, which is fun.
Yep.
And a few others have their roots in Mannix's home country in the Philippines, which I think is really, really cool.
It is.
It's not take that
very
section
cool.
there.
Yeah. The most notable feature of this book, however, outside of its amazing lore and stat box, which by the way there's
Nice touch.
tons, is the amazing artwork. Thanks to the amazing talents of Bad Moon Art Studios, Dean Spencer, Brian Valeza, as well as Ruben de Vela and Sandeson Gonzaga, almost every stat block is represented by magnificent artwork that can inspire Dungeon Masters to create exciting encounters. Particularly, I know one that I chose, the thing definitely got me was definitely the artwork that I saw. It was incredible.
And we consider the fact it's over 250 monsters in here. I feel like that's really saying something.
Yeah,
Yes.
It really is. That's a lot. As somebody who makes a monster once a week, that's a lot.
It is a lot, yeah.
Respect.
So mad kudos to Mannix and the team. You guys did a wonderful job. With that, why don't we delve into this bad boy? Now, I have a plan. I'm going to try to share my screen to show the monsters as we go. But honestly, I haven't used this platform more than once or twice, so we'll see if it works.
We'll give it a go.
It looks like I might be able to do it.
Maybe.
So let's take a look. I don't know if it'll do side by side here. Will it?
Let's find out.
Oh, nope, it's not going to let me. That's a shame.
Well,
there we go. Oh, I think we got it. It's just slow catching up. There
yeah,
we
it
go.
is.
That
Okay.
doesn't work. That's just for you guys.
Let's
about
try
this one
picture
here?
in
Picture in
picture.
picture?
Yeah.
Ah,
'Cause
there
then
we
at
go.
least
All
we
right,
can
that'll
still
work.
see us in the
All
bottom
right,
there.
we're little tiny
Okay.
guys down in the bottom. So
But that's okay. You get
uh,
to see the magnificent
yeah.
artwork.
So
guys.
first of all, if you're interested in checking this out, please head on over to rebrand.ly/MME3, as in Monster Manual Expanded 3. You'll find a link there to the full-on product, as well as a short breakdown of some of our favorite picks, as well as the unearthed tips and tricks for this episode. Now, let's get into this. First of all, the cover art is amazing.
It is phenomenal.
It is just awesome. And from what I understand, this is from one of Mannix's personal games, and definitely inspired by the Tyranny of Dragons. What is that? The Horde of the Dragon Queen setting stuff, right?
Tyranny of Dragons. That was actually exactly it.
So you can take a look at this. First of all, the layout's done really good. They've got some really good quotes in here from some people who got to take a peek at it in advance, which is awesome. But we're going to get right into the meat of it. Obviously, this bad boy right on front, I swear to God, it just so happens that that's the one I picked. It was a coincidence, and I realized he was there after the fact. So once again,
it's very funny.
Lots of good artwork. The layout is very professional. You're talking like
this is some like real like
Wizards of the Coast level stuff.
Yeah.
So kudos to the team. As you can see, this massive list of monsters.
It's
what I would love to
huge.
do is go through every single one of these bad boys inch by inch. But let's be honest,
our show is about an hour.
We can't. We don't have a time. So we were scoured through this entire big monster manual here and picked some of our favorites. And those are the ones we're going to kind of talk about today. Does anybody want to go first?
I do not mind going first.
All right. What monster did you pick today?
So mine is from the demon archetype. It is it's on page 49.
Page 49?
Yep. And it is the Hierophant of Annihilation.
Oh, nice. That's
it sounded very cool.
I think there's and it's worth noting that there is art pieces for every monster that I looked at so far. Was there any you found that didn't?
Not to my knowledge.
I think almost all of them, if not all of them, had artwork, which was fantastic. You don't see that a lot in third-party content usually. Look at this monster. Looks like a badass just looking at the artwork. How dope is that?
It's choke slamming an angel. So
angel, please.
just to kind of give you a rundown of
what
it's
stepping on one. It's speared another like an alien.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
It is very cool.
So what can you tell us about these Hierophant of Annihilation, which is awesome, by the way?
I love the name. So the Hierophants of Annihilation are the mightiest servants of Orcus and the progenitors of Bodax, which means that they derive from that stat block. And you can kind of see some of that stuff too, and we'll dive into it. But they are free-willed and are absolutely loyal to the Lord of the Undead. These horrific demons resemble 20-foot-tall giant Bodax with bat-like wing vestiges, bony tails that end with stingers, and ram skulls for heads. Their massive rib cages bear the marks of Orcus, gashes and sections that used to cover their hearts, and their desiccated bodies, guess desecrated too.
It all fits.
Yeah, reek of a coppery, rotting smell. So it even gives you some lore on like what they smell and what they see. Faint greenish auras emanate from their bodies like sickly tendrils. These things are
cool.
Monstrous.
And let's just touch on how amazing that lore is right off the bat.
It's great. And that's just the first paragraph. There's a few more that dive in.
There's a lot that it really gets.
And we won't dive into it too heavily because there, again, shows very short. But
let's start off with so obviously this has a dope ass story going for it. Obviously everyone's gonna want to take a look at the stat block and everything. But I see here it's got lair action, so this must be a pretty powerful bastard.
Yeah, it's a challenge rating 19.
Of course it is.
It's a very, very big boy.
Nice.
And I was thinking, this could be a really fun like boss monster, or like if you're playing like a very high level campaign, this could be like the guardian at the gate kind of thing, right before the big bad evil guy, that kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So he doesn't have to be necessarily the big bad evil guy, but he can be the big bad evil guy's best friend guarding the front door. So the things that really caught my eye, or rather the features that I like to make note of, was Death Gaze. So very similar to the Bodax. They have a very similar ability. I forget what it's called. It's not called Death Gaze, but it's called something else. But of course, when a creature that can see the Hierophant's eyes start its turn within 40 feet of the Hierophant can force it to make a DC 20 con save if the Hierophant isn't incapacitated and can see the creature. If the saving throw fails by 5 or more, the creature is reduced to 0 hit points unless it is immune to the frightened condition. Basically, you give them a heart attack and they fall. Otherwise,
get wrecked.
now, even then, if somehow you if you are immune to the frightened condition, otherwise a creature takes 27 or 5d10 psychic damage on a failed save. Also a bloody ton of damage. Unless surprised, a creature can avert its eyes to avoid the saving throw at the start of its turn. However, if the creature does so, it has disadvantage on the attack rolls against the Hierophant until the start of its next turn, regardless if it has blind sight or not, presumably because of the emanating fear of looking into this thing's eyes. If the creature looks at the Hierophant in the meantime, exactly. If you can look at the Hierophant in the meantime, it must immediately make the saving throw, unless the Hierophant. And here's the big kicker at the very end. I made sure to put this in bold to really drive it home.
Let it stand out.
Unless the Hierophant already has 3 Bodaks under its control, a humanoid creature slain by the Hierophant's death gaze rises as a Bodak at the start of the Hierophant's next turn and is under the Hierophant's control.
Oh, man.
And just to drive that point home, Bodaks are already a challenge rating 9.
Oh, Jesus. Now, is that the Bodak something that's in this manual?
It's actually not. It actually is the thing in the regular monster manual, I believe.
I did not know that.
It is apparently just some random minion, as far as I am aware. Just a Bodak. Bodak.
Huh. I hadn't heard of that until I saw it on your
There's
thing
no
here.
C. There's just a K.
Oh, well, excuse me.
It's just you won't find it otherwise.
That looks
Apparently
like
there's a
porn.
song.
Cardi B. No,
Yeah.
how about I'm done with that.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Regardless.
What?
I want one of these things.
what book is it? Is it in the regular monster manual?
Looks like it.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Well, see, there's another monster that we
Servant
don't
of
get enough
Orcus.
use, right?
Yeah.
Oh, Volos.
Volo's guy? That's
Okay,
why.
Volos, that
Okay.
makes more sense.
All right, so never mind. You didn't really touch much on the fact that it's a spellcaster.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
And it can teleport at will. So
And it has an Aura of Annihilation, which is, again, what the Bodak has, except this is 40 feet, and it does a lot more damage.
now, this thing isn't without its weaknesses, though. It has something I have never seen before, and I think it's awesome. Sunlight hypersensitivity.
It does.
Which means it takes 5 radiant damage when it starts its turn in sunlight, which is awesome because I totally can see somebody leveraging the daylight spell to produce that light and have ongoing damage, weakening the monster, which
because
is cool.
Even for a high challenge rating monster, this thing's kind of built like a tank. It has magical resistance, magical weapons, multiple ways to attack and harm things. It can fly, it can teleport, it's a spellcaster.
Yep.
It's good that it has some form of weakness to kind of offset all of this. But even then, after all of that, of course, this thing gets legendary actions and has layer actions, but I won't get into the layer actions too heavily because that's just 5 paragraphs. So we won't dive into that.
One of the things that I do like and I want to touch on, one of my favorite aspects of 5e is monsters with regional effects.
Oh, regional effects, yes.
And this one says all normal plant life within 1 mile of the lair wither and die, and water sources within 1 mile of the lair are supernaturally fouled. A creature that drinks it will regurgitate it within minutes. I just wrote, I finished writing it a couple weeks ago, an adventure that dealt with this same thing based on a black dragon, and this is worded so much better. So yes, what do you think, Ian?
This gotta be nasty.
Oh yeah, he's gross. We that's what it's about, though.
Yeah, I mean, this guy will just shut down most parties, period.
Yeah, by himself.
And I think that's kind of the one of the best things about higher level adventures is the challenging monsters you get to play with and have to watch the player character struggle through that fight, you know.
And I think especially in like the normal monster manual, a lot of the higher challenge rating stuff doesn't really scream super hard, whereas like this one, like a lot of the outside of the Wizards of the Coast stuff, it seems more appropriately scaled. Yeah, because when you get to those higher levels, your players are kind of like gods. Yeah, they kind of can do whatever they want.
Yep.
So this kind of then that's why it has so much stuff.
Man, that's savage.
Oh yeah, it has a ability to give paralysis on somebody by poisoning them.
Yeah, with its stinger, it's a legendary action, which means it uses it regularly.
Yeah.
All right.
No recharges. It's just a huge monster.
I love that it's also got animate dead. So
Yes.
that fits with the raising of the Bodox or whatever it is.
Yep.
So,
That and being a servant of the god of undead. So
Yeah, it's just a
It all
very
fits.
well
It's
fleshed
very
out monster.
thematic
It
and
is.
fun. Well, I don't know what the hell that is, but it looks awesome.
It's just weird stuff everywhere.
Anything else to touch on that before we move on?
No, I think I covered everything that I wanted to cover on it.
All right.
Tell me your guy.
You want me to cover mine? All right. So I gotta see if I can pronounce this bastard's name. As you can see, I'm scrolling through. There he is. I love this guy. First of all, look at that artwork. That's gorgeous.
I love it.
I love the detail of the moss in the almost like barnacles is growing on top of this thing. You got little sections of bark. I don't know if he's wearing a bark helmet, or what's going
Like
on
his
there.
eyes are covered by.
But well, he's got
tree
one
bark.
eye because he's half Cyclops, half giant or some
okay,
shit. So
that's cool.
this is called the Bhugni Sneeze, I guess.
I think that's probably the best it's gonna go.
It's distantly related to the Cyclops in Troll. The Bhugni Sneeze is a 14-foot tall giant with a squat, heavy-set body. I can relate. Moss, rocks, and petrified wood stick like barnacles on the skin of the Bhugni Sneeze, running from the back of its large talon-like claws to its entire upper back, which enables it to blend into its surroundings effortlessly. Did you ever play
I know how this is gonna go.
in the Xbox Fable in the Xbox?
Oh yeah,
They had the big giants that were just like big
I do recall. Yeah.
mounds. That's what this reminded me of, and it just kind of pulls itself up out of the
moss ripping off it. You could even say like it's been there for like years, and all the overgrowth is already attached to it.
Yeah, I love it.
And then it rips itself free. I could see that.
Its singular eye lies at the center of its noseless head, which is interesting. Makes me wonder how it breathes. Maybe it doesn't breathe.
It's a mouth breather.
No, I meant like smell. Sorry, yeah, you're right. I said breathe. I meant smell.
Maybe it doesn't smell.
Because size, its tusks and teeth, and its inability to breathe through its nostrils. There it is. The Bhugni Sneeze mouth is never fully closed, as if stuck in a permanent, obnoxious-looking grin. My mom always told me my face would get stuck like that watching TV. The Bhugni Sneeze lumbers about like a quadruped. What is that?
So, yeah.
Quadruped,
Or
not
quadruped,
unlike
yeah,
a
probably, I don't know.
gorilla. Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah.
Leading with its knuckles, which is really cool. Now, there's a lot more lore and stuff to really touch on here. Obviously, we don't have time to go through it. The one thing I wanted to point out is the Bhugni Sneeze. In spite of being incredibly strong, it is very cowardice, and that's just something you don't see
Oh no,
in
not
like
at all.
big brutish monsters,
No,
right?
Not even.
So that was something that really made it stand out to me, because here is a monster that says if it looks like it feels like it's going to lose, it will run away. That's what it's going to do.
I'm picturing this like a 20-foot tall hulking creature being afraid of a chihuahua.
Well, in the details, it actually does tell of rumors that one once took a slash from a dagger and ran away. Like, that's in the lore, which I
Wow.
just think is great. Well, it also touches on the fact, well, how many didn't come back and get to tell that story, right?
Yeah, right.
Turns out that it was like a magic dagger or something. So let's look at some of the stats of this. It comes in 2 flavors. I love when I get giants that are also shamans. That just is something that I really, really enjoy.
Not something you see as often anymore.
Right.
I can appreciate that.
The Bhugni Sneeze has the shaman one, which gives it access to spells. But I want to focus more on just the one of its core powers. It does have charge, so it charges and can knock stuff down if they fail their save, which is appropriate for a creature that's brutish.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing I want to talk about is its horrid giggling. This thing basically just constantly emits Tasha's hideous laughter. And that is awesome.
Yeah,
Like,
it really is kind of what that is.
I mean, just think about it. Your adventuring party stumbles on a group of adventurers battling this thing, and half of them are doubled over laughing their head off.
I'd run.
Right?
I wouldn't go near. I'd be like, nah, they're on their own.
That is something that
That's their problem now.
just stood out to me so much. And I mean, you don't really, I don't know, usually you think spellcasters when you think the horrid giggling, but to have this on just a dumb giant is hilarious.
Mm-hmm. A dumb giant that's afraid. It's a very very unique
Oh my
monster.
gosh.
I can definitely see like this being unforgettable no matter where when you throw it in, because it's just going to be strange.
Yes.
They'll remember it for the rest of their lives. I would.
It does get poor depth perception, which means it has disadvantage on any attack rolls outside of 30 feet, which is a great, once again, now we've seen this twice, where there is a visible Achilles heel to these monsters.
Yes.
The last one, the
That
Annihilator,
isn't just
was
some and it's not just some like, oh, it takes it's weak to fire.
double damage, right?
Right. It's not just that. It's some, and I like that. Again, you're going to say the Hierophant was if it was in daylight, it suffered damage every turn, and this thing, it can't see more than 30 feet away.
And those can be exploited. And to me, that's amazing attention to detail on the writer or the author's part. And honestly, that's something I think I'm going to try putting more of an effort into, because really, right off the top of my head, the only two creatures I can really think of that have any sort of obvious weakness is the troll, right?
Yep.
And then the shit, I lost it. Okay, the troll's all I can think of right now. And so to see that in two of the monsters that we've covered already is fantastic, because that means knowledge checks become super important.
Yes.
What do I know about this? Billy don't know nothing, but you, the arcane wizard, you recall reading a scroll of how they have poor depth perception. I can see that. He has one eye. Most Cyclops do, and they don't have this power or this defect, whatever. And of course, it has the traditional claw and tusk. Once again, you have the extra variant, which goes up to a challenge rating 11, the shaman, which once again still has to deal with the poor depth perception.
Very unfortunate.
But when you look at its powers, it doesn't actually have anything that requires an attack roll except for the rock that it can throw. So all the spells were specifically chosen so that he didn't have to suffer from poor depth perception.
Which kind of makes sense
in
in an evolutionary standard if you want to put it into like a real world scenario. Like, if you can't see very far, are you really going to try and throw a fireball more than 30 feet away? Like, no, you're just going to make it suffer.
Do you know what I like about this monster most?
The way it looks?
It can heal.
Oh, that's very good.
It can heal. It's got Healing Word, which is awesome. And it's got some of my favorite ongoing damage spells. Heat Metal. Oh, that paladin is boned.
That paladin's going to burn.
And then you're going to also have Spike Growth. So those are some of my favorites, and I really like this. Ian, what do you think, Mr. Quiet over there?
I find this one unique because, as we mentioned before, the thing is a beefcake.
Yeah, beefcake. I love it.
And does some really fun magic stuff, but it's a coward. You just don't see something like that very often.
Yes, and it's just,
if ever, honestly.
And that's what I think makes this so great, the attention to detail. All right, we've talked about the Bhugni Sneeze enough. Once again, this was probably one of my favorite monsters in the manual so far, but they are all really great. Ian, what was your choice?
Well,
what page number?
For the description or the stat block?
For the description, that way I can scroll and get the picture.
The picture next to the stat block, which is page 21.
Page 21. Okay, way at the beginning here.
Yes.
That's okay.
First off, there's a section about Uswung, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, which are basically like a simple description, Filipino style, like vampires, ghouls, hags.
Okay.
I love this picture.
Yep. So they share a lot of the weaknesses that vampires have, like
sweat run down his
salt,
face.
garlic, and all that. And
ruling.
Basically, you can become these by either being cursed, which you can thankfully remove by remove curse, greater restoration, or if they're born, you have to use wish to get rid of said curse.
Oh no! Oh, this is some Blade level stuff.
Oh
Your
yeah,
mom's bitten when she's pregnant with you, and you grow up with this curse, and that's why you become an adventurer to get rid of the curse.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Good hook.
Yeah.
Oh, it says Nightstalkers.
Appropriate. And they're all shape changers too. So between their human form and their monstrous form.
Nice. Oh my God, that face. That's hideous looking.
But the one I picked out in particular on page 21 is the I'm probably gonna start the pronunciation.
So they come in different flavors, I see.
Yep.
Like this is a Buso.
Yep. I picked a Kubut.
A Kubut?
Yep. And short version, this is a dreadful female Ungsun who appears like a stunning, beautiful young maiden in her humanoid form, and has a dark personality as she is malicious, spiteful, and filled with conceit. In her fiend form, she resembles a hag or a female vampire with dark gray skin, clawed hands, and feet. It has massive long hair that billows like seaweed underwater. She moves like a spider, using her claws and hair to crawl across rooftops, tree branches, and steep walls.
They're horrifying.
Yeah. And a female affected with a curse ages a year each day.
Oh no!
So
You're on a time limit.
So to revert her young age, she must transform into her Kobold form and feed on the life force of a young humanoid.
Oh
my
God.
God.
Is so cool.
Yep. So they prowl through wood areas, secure farmland and alleys, searching for youthful victims, who she then smothers and binds with her strands of hair into their eyes, nose, nostrils, and mouth, and then drains their life essence, leaving a withered husk behind.
Oh my God, that is amazing. This is only challenge rating 4, and it sounds
I
terrifying.
was gonna say, this thing sounds horrifying. It sounds like it'd be a much higher challenge rating because it seems so.
Oh, this is different.
And it actually mentions, like in the description, not the stat block, mind you, that when they're young, they pretend to be like a young woman, but when they're older, they may pretend to be their younger self's mom, if you will.
Oh, geez. They're out to get you. I'd like to point
Smart.
out that this says they got resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, slashing from non-magical weapons that aren't made from stingray barb. What the hell is stingray barb?
A stingray stinger.
Oh, wow, that's very specific.
Yeah.
Like,
Good luck knowing that.
And all
well,
the
that's another cool
Yeah.
knowledge check opportunity.
yeah, now the unswung have that weakness, if you will.
All of them do?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's cool.
because this is based off actual lore, as we established
Right.
already. So
That's awesome.
and for the one and for the Kuba in particular, some features of note is she in her fiend form has hair wrap.
Yes. Oh my God, yes. That's some what is that inhuman chick? Medusa?
Yep. Well, it reach at 15 feet.
Okay.
On a hit, if the target is medium or smaller, they become grappled.
Okay.
And until the grapple ends, the target can't breathe, is blinded, restrained, and she can't use her hair up against any other targets. Which leads into another ability, which won't shock anybody. You heard the description so far, is consume energy.
Yes. Of it.
And basically, any creature she's grappling, the target makes a DC 12 Constitution saving throw, and they fail to take 48 necrotic damage on the failed save, or half as much if they succeed. She regains that hit equal to the amount of necrotic damage dealt, and if the creature dies in the action, she reverts that creature's age, but she can't go below the age of 18.
Oh, come on. Who put that in there? I would love one of these things just keep getting born.
Or turn into like a child.
Yeah. And then they start all over. Thus, you were born with the disease, right? And now you got to go. I don't know, man. That's a shame they put that in there. That might be tied to the lore or something. But man, this is a monster. Is terrifying.
All of these are.
All of these are. This is one of the few times where while you're grappled, not only are you blinded and restrained, but you can't breathe.
Yes.
So you are suffocating while it's happening. So even if you could somehow manage to survive all the necrotic damage and you never broke free, you still end up suffocating to death and dying anyway.
That's horrible. What a horror. This, I mean, and I didn't realize it at first, but I can see her hair in this thing slipping around, coming to get this poor guy in a helmet.
And it's cool because you wouldn't think anything of it otherwise until after you read it.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I really like this. I love the attention to detail. Anybody else notice I'll have proficiency bonus included now?
Yeah,
I didn't really
that's the
notice
thing that people have complained about in the regular D&D books, that it doesn't include proficiency. That's because most of them are inconsistent and don't follow an actual pattern. But
yeah,
I think that's a nice little touch.
That's true.
I would say the thing that I really like about this is it's so deep in knowledge checks. You can have knowledge checks for them aging rapidly, which might explain why they are on a particular hunting pattern. The fact that they can only be killed by stingray barbs. Also the fact that it's a shape changer. All these things are tools that the players can use to discover what they're fighting. You know, almost as a monster hunt. You don't know what it is you're chasing, and these little clues get left behind. Just enough for you to poke around on them.
And I kind of like the fact that these all the Outswung in general, you treat a lot of them like vampires, but their CR is lower than that of vampires. So you can have a vampire like encounter without actually dealing with the higher stats.
Yeah, and this is kind of almost like some of them are like a hybrid. Like this is almost like a werewolf. This This Halamal is almost like a vampire werewolf mix,
Werebore, yeah.
which is pretty cool. But yeah, the content in this book is just phenomenal. The Kubot, Kubot, what is it? Kobut, whatever.
Kubot.
This one's got wings.
Yeah, there's all sorts of different versions of these things.
Manananagal. Wow.
Say that 5 times fast.
Right. And it's missing half. Does its body detach? Oh my God! Look at that in the window. Half of its body's standing there with the upper half flying away.
That's wild.
That's disgusting and disturbing. All right, so obviously there is a lot of monsters in this bad boy. Can we take a moment?
Yep, that one has a self-segmentation ability.
Oh my God! Let's talk a minute about the. There's a clockwork beholder that I thought was awesome. I love all. You've even got more bugbear.
There was like 6 different bugbears added.
Yep, they added tossing a few orcs too, for that matter. Actually, they tossing a lot of things for producing creatures, which I don't mind at all.
Giving you some variation. Actually, that sort of build was the original inspiration for our monster variants, right? Because hey, there's a goblin and a goblin boss. Well, that's very limiting. So what else do we got? This artwork is just gorgeous. The teams really did a fantastic job of really capturing the essence of the class or the unique monsters. So is there anything in the book you guys wanted to talk about? I know
there's one thing I want to mention in particular. Like, obviously, we mentioned they bring a lot of new creatures in here. They bring in variants for already pre-existing monsters, and they actually bring in like past monsters from previous editions that we haven't seen yet.
Right.
But what I wanted to mention in particular is they actually have 2 templates in here you can apply to other monsters. One is like the multi-headed dragon, which I won't get too far into. But the other one is the Revenant.
There it is, clockwork beholder.
Page 218.
218. Look at that. Isn't it beautiful? It's a clockwork beholder.
Yep.
That's wild.
I want one.
Me too. Well, it's got spell redirection. Somebody casts a spell and it can send it somewhere else. That's its cone effect instead of anti-magic. Awesome. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
That's pretty good.
Derailed. Yeah. So what'd you pay? 20 what?
218.
218. Let's go take a look here. Templates. So this is something that I really like, and I've been trying to put something together for an entire like piece of book content. Because I like to take features from one monster and apply it to another. I think that's a great way to add variation into your campaign setting.
Absolutely.
And the fact that they provide a couple good ones here is pretty awesome. It's basically like, here are the features you want.
Is what makes them what they are.
What they are, yeah. Which is very cool. That's a nice touch. And there's only a couple of them, you said?
Yep.
Let's see, the Manticore, the Ogre.
Right, but they apply a template to them. So
they basically took an existing stat block and applied the Revenant stat block template that they made, and you come out with very unique monsters, which is awesome.
And the idea of a Frost Giant Revenant,
Trent Revenant, that's awesome.
A Dragon Revenant would be insane.
There's a Wyvern, close enough, I guess. It's a multi-headed dragon one, I think. Look at those. Those are that. Some more underwater monsters, man. We did that.
Hagen.
What's it called?
Hagen.
Is that what it's called?
Yep, they already exist, but they give you more of them.
Yeah. I love it. There needs to be more. That's what I'm saying. There needed to be more underwater monsters. I was very limited when I was building my underwater encounters.
Yeah.
But this is a fantastic book. The art, what the hell is that?
I couldn't tell you.
It's a giant flaming ice lightning green chicken. What the hell? It is a Saramanok. A Sarimanuk.
It gives you a pronouncer for Pete's sakes, man.
Sarimanuk. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
Oh, side note, they get pronouncers for most of these things.
Which is good.
Yes.
For goofy bastards like me. Oh, yeah. It's got basically its prismatic tail is kind of like a peacock. And each one does different type of damage. That is cool. I love it.
Very bizarre things in here.
All right. Obviously, we bought this all day. And I would love to, but I'm not going to. So we're going to go ahead and move on unless there's anything else you guys wanted to touch on for the Monster Manual Expanded 3.
Nothing to touch on, I feel like.
All right. I would like to say, if you are interested in this, you want to check it out, please use our affiliate link at rebrand.ly/MME3. That'll take you to the blog about this with the link there with our affiliate link. So please check it out. With that, let's turn off stop screen sharing. Go blow us back up there. All right, and with that, we will move on. Nope, I probably should pull up my show notes so I actually know what the hell I'm talking about here.
That might help you.
All right, now we'll be moving on to our Unearthed Tips and Tricks. There's supposed to be a really long spiel about what our Unearthed Tips and Tricks are, but I'll just tell you. Our Unearthed Tips and Tricks, for those of you that are joining us for the first time, are a collection of reusable material that you can bring with you on your adventure. We take the form of character concepts, monster variants, tips and tricks. We've been doing shorts of these on our YouTube. So I ask everyone, if you're watching, please consider watching us on YouTube. Help us get our goal up to being monetized. That would be awesome.
Would be very cool.
I do want to take a second to promote one of our big bad products here. If you like monsters and you like fleshed out details, not only do you need to get Monster Manual Expanded 3, but also consider checking out our memorable monsters. We believe monsters are more than just stat blocks, and you can find fully fleshed out NPCs and monsters in our monster manual. It is a 5-star rated product right now, and there's lots of good things about it. I could go on and on, but since I don't have a script in front of me, I'll just be rambling, and that's no good for anybody. So please head on over to Crit Academy and check out all of our products. Memorable Monsters is big. We do have a new Kickstarter coming up, so keep an eye out for that. I'm really excited for that. And with that, let us move on to our Unearthed Tips and Tricks. Who would like to take our character concept? Ian?
Our character concept is Pixrin Galaxian. Say that 5 times fast.
Good job.
That was impressive.
Yeah.
All right. She's a towering young brass-scaled dragonborn. She dresses in a thin silk cloak with a cowl to cover her head, and her thick backpack bulges with rectangular shapes of the collection of books hidden inside. A pair of custom spectacles sit atop her snout, and her claws clutch a large leather-bound tome with Zenith Athorian etched into it. Personality-wise, she has not the interest in random violence and believes the teachings of history can help us come to an understanding. She tends to walk and read her tome at the same time. Combined with being absent-minded and clumsy, she often finds herself bumping into people and objects, usually leaving her left sprawling on the ground. And history, she grew up seeking knowledge in hopes of becoming a wizard and master of the mystic arts. Unfortunately, she had zero talent for the skill.
I want to do this, but I can't.
Her thirst for knowledge has led her to study the world, its cultures, and religions. As she delved into the history of religion, she learned to tap into the weave in a different manner, through prayer. So basically a cleric we're talking?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And her motivation? Someday she would love to share her passion with the world. She seeks to open her own library and fill it with as much knowledge as she can.
All right, so I mentioned we have another Kickstarter that'll be launching, and one of the high-level adventures that I wrote, I think it was higher level, it was level 9. This is one of the main characters, and I had so much fun writing her. I wanted to include her in our show. She seeks out the player's help to find a lost library that's full of knowledge that has, been lost.
Right.
And so she hires the party to do so, and she's so much fun, and I cannot wait to release this to you guys. What do you guys think of this character concept?
The thing that actually that's funny for me is that usually when you see a dragonborn, they're usually like kind of brutish and very much so like the aggressor in a lot of situations, and in this case, it's just they are aggressively stuck in their books
and clumsy too. Like,
and clumsy on top of it all.
I think that's just funny. You're having this big, ginormous 7.5 foot tall lizard bumping into stuff all the time.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And usually she is the loser in the encounter. She's the one left on the ground.
Yeah. Actually, that's how she's introduced too. Is she stumbles and all her paperwork goes everywhere, and she asks the players to help her catch it.
That's funny. I like that. That's good.
All right, I think that'll do it for our character concept. Pyrixian Galilixerin.
Yeah, that's definitely the name.
Yep. All right, moving on to our monster, we have the Battle Commander. So, to build the Battle Commander, you're going to want to start with the stat block of the Gladiator. You can see where I'm going with this.
Very quickly.
And we don't actually have to get rid of any special features or anything. We can keep it as is. We're going to give them some more utility, though. Battle commands. The commander shouts commands until the start of the commander's next turn. The commander can select from one of the 3 following effects. The cunning action. Provided the commander isn't incapacitated, an ally that starts its turn within 30 feet of the commander and can hear the commander can take the dash, disengage, and hide action as a bonus action. How about that? Giving all of his minions cunning action.
That's really good.
Yeah, that's
I like
fun.
that.
How about strike fear into their hearts? Provided the commander isn't incapacitated, an enemy that starts its turn within 30 feet of the commander and can hear the commander must succeed on a DC 13 Wisdom saving throw or become frightened until the end of this until the start of its next turn. If the creature's saving throw is successful, the creature is immune to the intimidating the strike fear into their hearts for 24 hours. And then the third one is Steadfast Resolve. Provided the commander isn't incapacitated, obviously. If he's incapacitated, none of these works. He can't talk.
Yep.
An ally that starts his turn within 30 feet of the commander can hear the commander, gains advantage on saving throws against being charmed and frightened until the start of its next turn. So we basically took the gladiator stat block and made it a leader style character, making all the creatures around him more versatile and more action oriented, making for more dynamic combat. What do you guys think?
I do think that we don't see enough commander abilities in the game as it is. So I think this is a good application to add more flavor to the battles. And kind of a double-edged sword of this, though, is because of the leader type, you can put a target on them as a result.
That's definitely true.
Yeah. But when he's still alive,
Yeah.
he's making his allies that much better.
And I think it also gives it does something that doesn't happen often, and it encourages role play in the middle of combat from like a communication standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
If the commander is standing there and he shouts, "You minion in the red shirt number 3, charge over there and deal with that," and then he uses his disengage action to
My only question is, I don't think it's specified outright. Are these like legendary actions, standard actions?
no, these are just actions it can do.
So it's just an action.
Yes.
Okay.
It gives up basically his action to buff up other stuff.
All right, I was only asking because it was not.
Yeah, it
always
doesn't
specified.
make it here. It's not very clear here.
Mm-hmm.
But
I thought it was just like a passive. I was like, this thing's broken.
no. It requires his
just-
action.
He just chooses one, and it's just him saying something, and it just works.
There we go. I'll put it under actions. That's where it would go in the stat block anyway.
Yeah.
Anything
That's
else for
funny.
this, you guys?
No, that's good. I like that.
All right, Austin, would you like to tell us about our encounter? And I'm sorry, but this was already written before I
That's
went to the bullet point thing. I wasn't going to undo it. And
No,
it's
it's
from
fine.
our upcoming Kickstarter.
Yeah. So this encounter of the podcast is A Crawl Through the Desolate Wastelands, an excerpt from Extraordinary Expeditions, our upcoming Kickstarter. Now, while the characters wander through a desert town, the vendors try to push their goods and services upon new coming adventurers. The 10-foot tall high walls that surround the concentric circle city help protect against the stinging dust and wind. As the characters wander through Karnak, they meet Pixrin Galrixirn, use Acolyte stat block with a 17 intelligence score, a towering brass dragon, born who bumps into the party clumsily and,
Sounds familiar. Like it's a monster
Perhaps.
concept we
over.
just talked about.
Yeah.
Her weathered leather bound tome drops to the ground and notes begin to fly in all directions. She panics and begins shouting, "Don't let those escape!" And oh my, those are important. Could I get some help? A character who succeeds on a DC 15 Wisdom Perception check catches the title of the book on its binding, Zenith Athenaeum. A character who succeeds on a DC 18 Intelligence, Arcana, or History check recalls reading of the Lost Library and its vast wealth of knowledge. She has come to the desolate wastelands in search of the lost Zenith Athenaeum, said to be the grandest library to ever exist. She has plenty of information that points to his existence somewhere in the wastelands, likely buried over the centuries, much like everything else out there. And of course, we have this lovely D8 table filled with encounters.
Yeah, you don't got to read all of them.
we
You
won't
want to
read
pick
them.
one or two and talk about them?
Sure. So, I mean, this one's nice and easy. The characters are hunted by a pack of 2d8 or 2d4, plus 4 rabid hyenas.
You
Use the death
literally
dogs to
picked the
have
most boring option there. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, because you
What's
just
the shortest option?
but it's
Not the
shortest
shortest option.
Oh no, there
The
is
one
one.
with the ambush Doom Mimic
There's
is the
a Dune
shortest.
Mimic.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's from the Tome of Beasts. And if you have not seen the Dune Mimic, you are missing out
That
because
sounds
that's amazing.
scary.
And for the record, Tome of Beasts is not a Wizards product, just FYI. So.
Right. It is a Kobold press.
But I do believe they have an SRD for those too, don't they?
Well, it's
Not
part of
sure.
it, but I got permission to use their products in my book. So
Okay, that's different.
surprise!
so-
what Extraordinary Expedition is going to have a lot of Tome Beast monsters in it. So if you got the
That's
book,
one.
Even better.
Let's choose option number 2 here. During their march through the sweeping dunes, the characters create sand avalanches. Each character must succeed on a DC 14 Dex saving throw. On a failed save, they tumble down a dune, and the character loses one item at random or of the GM's choice into the sinking sands. A passive perception of 17 is needed to spot the item is missing, and a successful DC 19 investigation check is needed to locate each item. So remember those
Yikes.
soft stats, guys. You will need them.
I'm just picturing like losing a magical item.
well, and that was kind of the intent. So in this this adventure, there's like I think it's a D20 table, and every time they have to roll survival checks and stuff,
Mhm.
and when they fail, they have to roll on this table.
That's very smart.
And so you might end up losing gear through the sandstorms and falling down dunes and shit. And I think that's one of
Very
my
unfortunate.
and it could go from being really crappy to not even noticing depending on the item. Like if you do it randomly, you might lose your I don't know, your writing quill or something, or you might lose your water bottle.
Yeah, might want to hire a ranger who knows the desert.
Well, and that's actually what I was going for. The classes that can specialize in those will excel in this particular adventure.
Exactly. Yes.
So if you've got the ranger in your party that you feel like they don't excel enough, this is the encounter to the adventure to run for them.
Exactly.
Or hire one.
Yeah.
There actually are rules for that. People just keep forgetting that.
Yep, absolutely. I forget hirelings, right? So,
Yes.
All
Very
right.
cool.
With that, I think we will move. What did you guys think? I didn't even ask.